So there's a section in Trig 5 that we really haven't talked about much. So it says for each trig ratio below, identify all possible values of theta that would make the statement true. Assume theta is measured in radians between 0 and 2 pi. So they want to know where on the unit circle, so all the way around the unit circle, where does the cosine of some angle equal a half? So let's see how we would do this. Again, we're not going to use our calculator. We're not going to use our notes. So the first question you have to ask yourself is, at what angle is the cosine equal to a half? And again, this is where memorizing those 30, 60, 90, 45, 45, 90 values are important. So if you remember from what you memorized, the cosine of 60 degrees is going to be a half. Well, the next time you have to think about as well, this says that it wants it to be measured in radians. So what is 60 degrees in radians? Again, I know 60 degrees is the same thing as pi over 3. So the cosine of pi over 3 is equal to a half. Well, there are two places in the unit circle where the cosine would be positive. So, and there's also, well, there's 4 places where the cosine would equal a half, but only 2 places where it's going to be positive a half. So if I think about all students take calculus, in quadrant 1, everything, all of them are positive. So in quadrant 1, the cosine would be positive, but also in quadrant 4, the cosine is positive. So I know that the cosine would be positive in quadrant 1 and quadrant 4. So I know in quadrant 1 it would be pi over 3 because that's what we had determined up here, that 60 degrees, the cosine of 60 degrees is a half. But I also know that I could subtract pi over 3, so I could go negative pi over 3. Well, I don't want to give it as a negative angle, I want to give it as a positive angle. So if I subtract pi over 3, it's the same thing as going all the way around the circle, and it would also be the same thing as 5 pi over 3, right? This would be 3 pi over 3, this would be 6 pi over 3, and if I subtract pi over 3, I'm going to end up at 5 pi over 3. So the two places where the cosine of some angle is equal to a half would be at pi over 3 and 5 pi over 3. Let's do another one. For each trig ratio, identify all possible values of theta that would make the statement true. So where is the tangent equal to negative square root of 3 over 3? Well, I start by first thinking about where is the tangent equal to the square root of 3 over 3. I know that's at 30 degrees, and I know that 30 degrees is the same thing as pi over 6. But then I have to say to myself, well, in what quadrants would the tangent be negative? Because I'm looking for a negative square root of 3 over 3. So again, based on all students take calculus, I know that it would be negative in the second quadrant, and it would be negative in the fourth quadrant, because all are positive here, and the tangent is positive here, so it's going to be negative in those other 2 quadrants. All right, so now we have to figure out, based on knowing that this here, pi over 6 is the square root of 3 over 3, we have to figure out, well, what would this angle here be in radians? Well, this would be 1 pi over 6, this would be 2 pi over 6, this would be 3 pi over 6, this here would be 4 pi over 6, so this one here would be 5 pi over 6. Again, if I kept going, this would be 6 pi over 6. That's kind of a way that I can check that, yes, I'm right. So at 5 pi over 6, the tangent would be equal to negative square root of 3 over 3. But it would also be negative over here. Well, I'm going 180 degrees, or pi, from this point over to this point. So I can say, well, I'm going to go 5 pi over 6 plus 6 pi over 6. So I know that this point over here would have to be 11 pi over 6. So I know that the tangent would equal negative square root of 3 over 3 at 5 pi over 6 and 11 pi over 6.